Hey there YouTube, Chaos Cuber here. My camera is on like somewhat half battery, and also my microphone's on half battery, and I have a pop filter, and it's late at night, but you know the drill. It's time for another unboxing video. This one actually is pretty exciting, and it's also going to be a bit smaller unboxing than usual, so without further ado, let's get right into this quick unboxing from Amazon.com. Okay, so here are the cubes that I have. I'm gonna have to watch my autofocus on here. I just have one camera angle going today. Basically, like I said, I ordered these off of Amazon.com. They tend to have some interesting puzzles, usually a bit higher than you can get them from China, but sometimes they come a bit faster, so I don't know, a bit of a compromise. I was ordering some birthday presents for some of my siblings, and I just decided to go for some miscellaneous cubes. First up here, I'm going to show a screenshot of the actual ad that I bought these off of alongside each of the things here, just so you can kind of see what I'm working with here. The Prismatic Puzzle Pack, Original Sweet Mods and 80s Mod by Brybelly. As you can see, this one has a lot worse reviews, 18 customer reviews, 3 stars. A lot of people apparently got these and they're falling apart on them, which I think they were too loose at first. They seem to have fixed that issue, but this is a kind of odd set. I don't know, it has some weird color scheme and weird boxed cubes here. Let's zoom in and look at these one at a time. I'm going to switch out my camera here shortly, but as you can see on the back here, it has a picture of a Diancheng stickerless cube, so that's a really good start. We built a better cube. Perfect for beginners and experts alike, this puzzle cube features bright stickerless plastic, pop-resistant pieces, and customizable tension. 0 for 3, or 0 to 3, choking hazard, warning, choking hazard. Great for pros. Okay, so we built a better cube, perfect for beginners, great for pros. 6 color speed cube, 57mm stickerless construction, adjustable tension, ages 8 and up. So choking hazard for 0 to 3, and it's for ages 8 and up. And there it is. Let's get this out of here and get some first impressions. So I think this is just the basic stickerless speed cube. I don't remember exactly which ones, but I think there is a normal speed cube, an 80s speed cube, which by that they mean like a really neon weird color scheme, and also kind of like a candy color scheme. I don't know exactly. 3 different color scheme cubes. Very odd. I just decided to get the full set because it did seem to be a deal. I just wanted the 80s one, but they're all pretty cool. So anyway, actually first impressions on here, I'd have to say this is a Cyclone Boys mechanism, but it's actually hard to tell. I don't know exactly. Actually, that's a really weird kind of blocky mechanism right there. See how close I can get this camera to focus right there. As you can see, that bottom piece on the piece there is actually really blocky and kind of strange. I don't know exactly what to think about that mechanism at all. And here is a corner piece. I don't know, it's not really a mechanism that I've seen before. Maybe the Diancheng clone there, or the Diancheng that was shown in the box. I don't know exactly. It's a little bit blockier on the internal pieces at least than I have known from cubes before, but it sounds very similar to something like a Cyclone Boys. It does turn pretty well, I have to say, and it weighs, it's middle range weight-wise. It's not super cheap feeling and not super light, but it's not super heavy either. So let's just try some corner cutting here. Make sure it's in the camera there. It corner cuts right at 45 degrees normal, and reverse cutting is pretty poor, like maybe like right there. No, barely any reverse cutting at all. Very, very horrible. The tensions are pretty tight, as I expected there. So actually it might be a little bit better with some setup and tensioning, but man, the reverse cutting is really bad. I can imagine it'd be a little bit catchy during solves because of that. It doesn't turn like a V-cube, but it has the same kind of characteristics as a V-cube. Poor reverse corner cutting, and then about 45 degree normal corner cutting. So I don't know, take it as you will. It definitely doesn't have a V-cube mech, but it almost turns. I think performance would be similar to a V-cube, even though the mech is kind of weird. Not sure on that one. Okay, so next up here, we have the 6 color speed cube 80s mod, 57 by 57 by 57 millimeters, great for beginners, effortless, jam proof, fluid turns, so like water apparently. We built a better cube, and there is a quick little sneak peek of the picture. As you can see, these are made by Brybelly in China. That's the brand that makes them. They're sold through Amazon. I couldn't find a lot of other places that sells them. First impressions, man, the top color there is really funky, and this is pretty cool, actually. So this is why I bought this cube. I haven't seen this one anywhere else, which is kind of strange that it would be only on Amazon and only sold by Brybelly. But it looks to be the exact same cube mechanism as the other one there. Yep, exact same one. If anybody can tell me what that mechanism is from seeing those close-up shots, let me know. So turning is exactly the same. This one actually is a little bit looser on some sides, but also a little bit tighter on some. And turning is actually a little bit catchier than the other cube there. Very, very loud and clacky, exactly like the other one, middle ground weight. And this one, its big claim to fame is the very, very odd color scheme. As you can see there, if if I do super flip here quickly, it's one of those reverse cutting lockups I was thinking would happen. And as you can see, there is super flip. The color scheme on this cube is very, very strange, especially for a stickless cube. I thought that was pretty interesting, and that's why I wanted to pick these up from Amazon. They are not super cheap. I believe it was like $16 for the set of 3. So I mean, that's not bad, but for this one alone is like $8.30 plus shipping, which shipping tends to be like $4 or $5 a single purchase like that. So if you order over $25, you get free shipping, and that's part of the reason I went for these here. Okay, next up here, 6-color speed cube, Sweets mod, ages 8 plus, same exact thing, great for pros, adjust the tension to rebuild a better cube, great for beginners. So the one thing I can give to these cubes is they seem to be a fairly unique mechanism, and I like their box design. I'm actually pretty impressed at how unique they seem to be compared to a lot of other cubes on the market. I don't know exactly what they are and what merits I can give them for that, but as you can see, that is a custom logo on there. It looks more like a tree, but I guess it's supposed to be a lollipop. And as you can see, this is the more pastel shades pack. Not quite exactly pastel, but definitely a bit different than the stock shades, which is the stock shades here. If we do a quick comparison, we can see that all right. As you can see, the shades are definitely quite a bit different. Actually do it correctly here. And I don't know, just a little bit of difference, exact same mechanism, exact same turning, a bit dry out of the box as well, like not thoroughly lubricated, but there's definitely a little bit of lube in there. All in all, I mean, for collection, I would recommend these puzzles, especially maybe like this one here, if they're really weird scheme, if you want to collect some oddball 3x3s. And as far as I can tell, they're not really knocking off anything, so I can't really fault them for that. It's an interesting Amazon brand, Brybelly, and there are 3 cubes by them. I've wanted to try those out for a little while, at least the 80s mod one. So I finally got those. Those are pretty cool. The Shengshou Cube Puzzle Speed Cube, the best, black. It's funny that they don't say 7x7 in the title, but as you can see, it has all the correct stuff there. Shengshou, 262 customer reviews, $21, fairly inexpensive, and there it is on Amazon. Okay, so I'm going to switch out my camera battery here shortly. It has been flashing for a little while. I'm sure it'll go out at any second. But there is a Shengshou 7x7. That's a cube that I've never actually had. I don't know why exactly, but when I first got into cubing, the mini Shengshou 7x7 was out, and that's the one I decided to go for over the standard Shengshou 7x7. But now for my collection, I decided to get a standard Shengshou 7x7. They're fairly inexpensive on Amazon, I believe right around $20, which I mean, that's not super cheap compared to some of the budget 7x7s these days. But for this 7x7, it's a fair deal. The Shengshou 7x7 was a fairly early 7x7. It came out like after the V-Cube and all that. Obviously, I'm going to get a towel here, or at least some sort of microfiber cloth. Wipe this off here, man. It is super, super lubey out of the box, as is to be expected of every Shengshou puzzle, but I don't want to set on my mat, otherwise it's going to get lube all over that. But this is a full-size Shengshou 7x7. Let me get a couple props to show you size comparisons here. As you can see, I have a Chi Wuji and a pillowed Aofu. The pillowed Aofu is actually exactly as tall as the Shengshou 7x7, and the Wuji is obviously a bit smaller. So let's get into first turns here and give me my first impressions, and then I'll probably change the battery here. Actually, wow, that turns really smoothly in one direction. And all the other turns, I can feel some pretty bad catching here. And look at this weird separation there. What is up with that? Let me zoom in on that real quick there. As you can see, there's a major separation there. It doesn't seem to want to go back together. I'm going to have to look into that a little bit more because that seems really strange. It's almost like it's about to explode or something. Huh. Look at that. Okay, I'm going to check the tensions here quickly. See if any one side is really loose. No, I think that's just how it is, maybe? I don't know. I think there's something wrong with this one here because it's having all kinds of weird separations, as you can see right here. I don't know. This one here doesn't seem to be fixable. Anyway, let's go on with turns, and hopefully this thing doesn't explode on me. First turns, first impressions, actually, it's very, very smooth. It has the standard Shengshou feel. If you felt any older Shengshou puzzles, this feels exactly like those. It actually turns fairly impressively. For what it is, a little bit older and larger sized, 7x7, it's very, very smooth. Corner cutting, let's test that quickly here. Corner cutting is about one piece, actually. That's fairly impressive. I mean, no, maybe not. Okay, the first one there seemed to cut a little bit further, but like, yeah, right center of one piece there. If you're holding the bottom layers pretty firmly, it will cut that. Reverse cutting, there's like no reverse cutting. So, I mean, it's a pretty stiff and pretty stable 7x7. I'd say it's more for the collection than anything else, and that's exactly why I bought it. Just to have the larger Shengshou 7x7 in my collection. I actually have to get the mini again because I sold mine a long time ago. But all in all, I mean, I'm actually pretty impressed. It's a larger sized than, I don't know, the smaller and later 7x7s, but other than that, it actually turns pretty well. It has some catching issues, but it's an older 7x7. I mean, you really can't be folded for that. And as you can see, there's checkerboard pattern, and there it is, the Shengshou 7x7. I've been wanting one of those for a while and finally picked one up. They're fairly affordable right now compared to some other ones. Okay, so this is going to be the most interesting cube here, but I don't mean that. I mean, this is the highest reviewed cube on Amazon, at least as far as I can do. I watch Brybelly Skateboarding sometime, which is a skateboarding channel on YouTube with over 1 million subscribers, and they do like the highest reviewed skateboard on Amazon, and it's usually pretty bad. Like, I mean, the reviews come from kids and their parents and all that. So is the case with this one. If I remember correctly, I'll put it up on the screen, but I think this has 57 4.8 star reviews, and this is $8 on Amazon. So I decided to try it, kind of parody that thing. This is the highest reviewed Rubik's Cube on Amazon, and they do not show Legend or Shengshou anywhere in it, but as you can see, when I opened the box, I was like, okay, it's a Shengshou Legend. Nothing more to say there. But anyway, like I said, I'll go look at the website there. Okay, and then we have here the Speed Cube Suvavic. I don't know if that's Russian or I'm just maybe overthinking it. 3x3 stickers, Speed Cube Smooth, Magic Cube Puzzle, new version, T1. And as you can see in the photos here, now that I look at it again, it definitely does look like a Shengshou Legend. But what I was saying about this, has safe ABS material, size 55mm, which I actually think it's a 56, so that's odd. Loosen or tighten the cube and unleash your maximum potential. Comes with the cube solver. I haven't looked that up, but I think it comes with it maybe. And that shows some little interesting stock photos here. This one is kind of strange. I'm not sure if it's photoshopped or just weird. But either way, that is what is actually a Shengshou, even though they say new springs design, Suvavic allows you to finally adjust the tightness of your Magic Cube. All this other stuff there. So that's interesting. As you can see, 48 customer reviews. Let's get the exact number on that because I was mentioning that in the thing. I might just put this at the end of the video. So if I did, I guess that's what I did. And actually, there we go. 100% 5-star reviews. That's interesting. Let's pull it out of here and let's give it first impressions. I already have a Shengshou Legend and it is a bit looby out of the box, as is common. What did I do with that rag? It has that weird springy thing you kind of get with like Maru cubes I was mentioning the other day there on another unboxing, which is kind of strange. I don't know why I never noticed that before, but it has kind of like the springs reverberating when you turn it. But out of the box, I mean, it's impressive. It's a Shengshou Legend. It's a good Shengshou Legend. And I wonder if the people who sell these cubes do any prior setup to sending them out. Maybe that's what it is. So maybe this is a setup service, because I think the tensions are better out of the box, and the lubing, I mean, I think it's stock Shengshou lubing, but I think they did tensioning to this. That's my opinion, because this turns way better than any Shengshou Legend I've ever tried. So that's kind of strange, actually. Let me take a look at the mechanism. It definitely is a Shengshou Legend mechanism, and obviously the box was a Shengshou Legend. But my theory, as of right now, is that they actually do lubing to this in-house. They send it off to Amazon. They sell them for $8.36. People get them, and they are thrilled. I mean, this thing turns absolutely amazing. Let's do corner cutting here. Corner cutting is not 45. It's almost 45. But just the smooth feeling of it, being a Shengshou, almost no reverse cutting either. Just this overall smooth turning of it, being a Shengshou, it's really good. Okay, so I can't knock this cube. I mean, it gets people into the hobby and all that, but it's like any other cube that you buy on Amazon that is marketed as something different. Most of them are Guanlongs, most of them, I mean, some are Guanlong Pluses, but I'll put some examples up on screen. They're kind of a peeve of mine, which I will review more in the future just to kind of get their awareness out there. I'll probably do like a single review reviewing the greatest cube on Amazon or whatever. But this is the highest reviewed cube on Amazon. It only has 57 reviews, unlike some that have thousands, but it's the highest rating, and here it is. I am actually slightly more impressed with this than I thought I was after seeing that as a Legend out of the box, which, by the way, you can get a Legend for about $2 free shipping or $3 free shipping from China on certain sites. So $8.36 is obviously a bit over, but like I said, to get somebody into the sport, and if it is actually tensioned and comes nice out of the box, it's worth it. Okay, rant over. That's it. That's it for the Shengshou Legend. Okay, well, my battery is actually holding together very surprisingly well. Next up here, we have the Shaolin Popey. Huh? Shaolin Popey. That's kind of strange. Anyway, I looked at this out of the box. I was really confused. This is supposed to be a Cyclone Boys cube. As you can see at the bottom, I'm pretty sure they rebranded because this says Shaolin Popey at the bottom. I don't know what exactly. This is supposed to be a Cyclone Boys Feijue magnetic 3x3. But as you can see, through a thorough branding, I'm now going to call this a Shaolin Popey. This is new generation, so I'm assuming that's the change there. But anyway, let's get right into this. First of all, the packaging is very impressive. These can be had for, I believe, $7.36 on zcube.hk plus shipping. So, I mean, that's not without shipping. On Amazon, I think I paid like $13 for this, so not a super fantastic deal. But for a magnetic cube, it's not bad. It competes with the Z Magnetic, and it competes with some other ones like that. I'm having trouble getting to the packaging here. And it also competes with like the CH, Yushin Little Magic, and all that. So let's quickly get... And there you go, camera battery's out. Okay, so as I thought, the battery did run out there as expected. Not a big deal. I was just going on about the Shaolin Popey here. I feel like I'm rambling a little bit tonight, but I guess that's about what comes with the thing here. It's going to be a little bit different every unboxing. And actually at the bottom here, now that I finally got it open, I'm having trouble getting this little plastic thing out of there, but there is the instruction manual, your standard Cyclone Boys instruction manual, which let's see what this says on there. And interestingly enough, this does say Shaolin Popey on there. Not sure, interesting rebadge of Cyclone Boys here, but let's get right into this cube. I'm actually pretty impressed by the plastic case this comes in. As you can see right here, it's fairly solid plastic. I mean, it's not like a cheap plastic case. It's actually a pretty nice case that comes along with that. I'm not sure exactly what the practical use of this case would be after you open the cube. Also looks like I'll need a knife to open this here, but it is a nice case nonetheless. I mean, you could store it. It could be a display case or something like that. It's at least a good cube stand. It's interesting that they include it along with such an inexpensive cube. Let's see if that opened it up there. And let's get right into this here. I'm in kind of trouble actually getting in there to get this open. It's a very hard case to get open, I have to say that. Let me try and wedge a knife in there, which is probably not the smartest idea I've ever had, but let's try it out. And actually, there you go. I think this tape is actually pretty thick too, so high quality tape they use on this also. Had to really cut and slice into it there to get it to cut. Very tightly fit case. As you can see, it's somehow opened upside down. So let's just dump that out of there and let's get into my first impressions on this cube. Like I was saying, this is actually a very, very inexpensive, so a budget magnetized cube, so it's actually pretty interesting in that regard. I don't think this is going to replace anybody's main, but I haven't seen a lot of reviews out on this one yet, and I definitely wanted to get my own take on it. First impressions, the pieces and everything else there feel very floppy and loose. Here, I'm probably going to tension this before I actually do my first turns, but let's do first turns first. Wow, that's so loose out of the box. Okay, let's try from the blue side here. Which is in focus. I mean, it's almost like 3 pieces. I think with a little bit of practice, like just getting it down there, I can do a full layer rotation in one flick on a magnetic cube. So that's very interesting. It's a bit on the unstable side. I have to say that out of the box. It's very, very, very fast. And also, if you hear that, that is because this has slots for magnets, which I'll do a close-up shot here in a minute, that allow the magnet to move laterally up and down. I believe this could actually be fixed by putting a drop of super glue on top of the magnet when you take out that piece. But because it has slots and is not actually glued in place, that clicking, that loud clicking sound will definitely be present in some cases. And I think maybe they do use a glue, but if it is, it's very, very light. Okay, so first impressions on the turning. Oh man, this thing is so light turning. It's very, very strange. It's a bit on the light side for a cube also. The tensions on the box actually are not crazy loose on some sides, like those two. But on ones like the blue side here, they are very, very loose. So I might want to tension that before I do too many more turns. I think people who really like light and kind of like loose feeling cubes will like this cube. Also, the magnetic click is definitely there, but it's extremely subtle. If I had to say, I'd say they probably use like 4x1 or 3x1 magnets in this cube here. Like very, very, very light magnets. Just as can be seen by the crazy, crazy fast turning there. So I don't know what my first impressions on this cube are. It's a good cube, but is it really like main potential for anybody? Maybe a total beginner. I'm not sure I'd even recommend it for somebody like that. As you can see, I was trying corner cutting there. If you go past 45, it will lock up like that. But right at 45, I think I'm going to tension it here and then come back. But right at 45, it does seem to cut just fine. Reverse, it'll cut line to line. In reverse, let's take a quick look at the mechanism here. Nice thing about magnetic cubes, you actually can just have the pieces stick to themselves there. As you can see, it's a very, very low contact design, which really, I don't know a lot about like designs and mechanisms and all that, but I'd say that contributes heavily to the feel of this cube. As you can see, there's a lot of space between the corner and edge piece right there. A lot of airspace. You can't really see it the way I'm holding it there. But as you can see, there they are. They look, I don't know, I can't say I've seen a lot of mechanisms exactly like them. I'd say it's a copy of a few different things. Not exactly like a complete rip-off mechanism. I was going to say the centerpiece makes it look sort of like an MF3 RS, but then the pieces don't look exactly like an MF3 RS. But if I had to say, I'd say that's about the closest. These pieces are glued together, so I'm going to have to try and carefully separate them, or at least they're very firm together. That might just be it. But let's separate these quickly and show you what's inside. And as you can hopefully see here, that is what is inside an edge piece in this cube. It is two different pieces here, and then in one side is a slot for a magnet. So this actually isn't quite as floppy a mechanism as I thought here. As you can see, these ones seem to be fairly well held in there. They don't seem to be coming out of there. But I believe the way these are held in is mostly by friction and maybe some very, very light glue. It's really hard to tell. I don't see any glue marks on there. So I'd say it's probably just mostly friction. So some obviously have tighter tolerances than others, and that allows them to seat fairly nicely, and the other ones do not. These pieces actually are fairly firmly together, so let's try and pull apart the corner piece here, and I'll show you something interesting there. I actually learned this trick from DM cubing. The way you're going to want to take these apart is going to be the exact same way you take apart bulk pieces, which hopefully will stay in focus here, but you kind of get the small end of a GAN tool, kind of the hex bolt, and kind of rotate it a little bit. That'll compress and push those pieces together, and hopefully this bottom will pop off without breaking. As you can see right there, be fairly careful if you're going to take one of these pieces apart, but that did it. And there it is, ready to come apart in 3 parts. I'm going to get a knife in here and carefully prise it apart just a little bit on a couple different sides here, just to get it so it's free to come apart. This may also be part of the rattling sound, I'm not sure, because this has a very interesting mechanism in the corners for the magnets. And as you can see, here is your first impression of the inside of a corner piece. As you can see, there's actually a circular piece on the inside there. You can sort of see it, and it has 3 magnets in it. If I pull it the rest of the way apart here, and if it stays in focus, as you can see, there's the full ring. I'm not sure if those are glued in there or not. I'd assume they are very lightly glued, and then it's set right into this corner piece here. It's a very interesting way to do the magnets in the corners. It prevents a lot of different hours of work and other things to get all the magnets seated correctly. So that is a bit innovative on Cyclone Boys' part. But I'm not sure, all in all, about this cube. The real problem in my mind with this cube, also if you can hear that, I think that's part of the rattling, is that these corner pieces are not thoroughly, like the tolerances are not quite the best. And that's probably the rattling / clicking sound you hear with this cube a little bit. Okay, so the main problem with this cube is, it's a good cube, don't get me wrong, but the problem is with other cubes out there, like let's say even the CH Little Magic M. That cube comes in, I think, at $12 on Z-Cube. The same site, this one is $7.36. So sure, this one's a little bit cheaper, but that's on the high end of the spectrum, and that cube is absolutely amazing, main potential for sure. This cube, on the other hand, I can't recommend it, except to, like, beginner solvers or something. Here, I'm going to tighten it up here quick before I give my final opinions. Let me find a screwdriver here. Okay, so I actually have to apologize once again. My audio was not recording over here. But there's that clicking sound I was talking about, if you couldn't hear it through the on-camera microphone. Luckily, this one's a bit better than the other one that I forgot about the other day. That was a complete disaster. I really need to work on getting my microphone recording before I actually start going. And man, these center caps are really, really in there. So let me get a knife under there and prise it right out of there. I don't know, I used to say pry, and then I hear a lot of people say prize, so I decided to start saying that. I don't know if that's relevant to anything. But as you can see, under that center cap, there is the screw and spring design. Seems to be fairly rudimentary. Let's just give that a few turns to the tighter side. I only had like a skate tool screwdriver lying around, and this one's not that great, I don't think, for trying to tighten this thing, but it should work just fine. Let's get my knife out again here to take this center cap off on the other side, and this one seems even tighter than the last one there. Let's just pull the rest of them off while I'm at it. So I'm going to be tensioning every single side here. Should probably get a better tool for this. As you can see, I'm sort of scratching these center pieces just a little bit. This knife, this one is pretty sharp, and I should probably be using like a screwdriver or something else, but these center caps are really in there, and it's kind of hard to get under them. Ooh, especially that green one there, that was kind of sketchy. Okay, so let's get these tightened up here. I'm not going to leave all this audio in here, but I'll leave a little bit in. And let's see here, tension or not? Yes, definitely. Okay, good. Hard to tell. Kind of rotating the cube instead of the screwdriver, because the screwdriver is not that great of a screwdriver. Let me see if I can find a different one here. This one's too big. I really would think I'd have at least a proper screwdriver around here somewhere, so hopefully this one will work. I don't know, I have a lot of screwdrivers, but they get scattered pretty easily. These screws are pretty tight to turn in there. Okay, red side needs a little bit more. Try to have my cubes where, I don't know, just kind of like a midway between where the pieces come out and like where it's actually like super, super tight when tensioning them. Some need a little bit different, and some need a little bit different from that. So, I mean, it's really just kind of, you have to feel your way through it when you're tensioning something like this. I think this should be pretty good. Just about done here. I think all in all, this is going to be a pretty unstable puzzle. I can just tell from first turns and just first impressions in general, even with the tightening here. This cube is still going to be pretty flimsy and unstable. It's just its nature. Okay. And let's see here, the tensions are still a bit uneven. Go like right there. Take this one off a tad. Slap the center caps back on there, and then we should have a better tensioned cube. It definitely comes very loose out of the box. It didn't pop on me per se, but it just seemed way too loose. So let's test it now, and this should be my final impression on this cube out of the box. And yes, very unstable, still has that clicking noise. About the same thing. Let me do a quick solve on this thing here. I have a timer sitting right over there, so I'll get that here in just a minute. This will be my first solve of the night, and I'm not exactly warmed up, so it's not going to be super quick. And it's just going to be a hand scramble. Okay, that should be good enough. Let's see here what I can get. I'd have to guess right at 25 seconds, but we'll see. Average like 20, but on this cube and first solve and how floppy it is, who knows exactly. Ooh, man, this thing turns really... I am not a fan of loose cubes, that's another thing. The Moyu Weilong GTS2 out of the box was way too loose for me, and this one has a completely different type of loose, but it's also very loose. And there you go. Of course, so that's pretty funny there. 18.93. I mean, that's a pretty fair solve. Of course, PLL skip, but that's pretty funny. Okay, well anyway, I guess I can't hate on it too much for that. So, I guess final impressions on this cube. It is a good cube, but I would suggest pretty much any magnetic cube over this cube, which would be the Z magnetic or the CH cubes, which would be like the Yushin Little Magic M or the MF3RS or the MF3RS2. I really would recommend any of those over this cube. Unfortunately, I mean, I would love to like this Cyclone Boys cube. They've made some historically pretty good knockoff cubes, but this one really is just a flop in my book. I mean, if you can find this at your local market, and I mean, they don't have it at a crazy price, and I mean, you can't get on the internet and all that, then buy this cube by all means. I mean, it is a good speed cube, but it just does not compete with other speed cubes on the market. The magnets are nice, but they also don't add a lot to the turning quality of this cube. They don't give it quite that same click as you would expect with some other ones there. As you can see, now that I've tensioned it, it'll cut 45 degrees without doing that weird deforming thing, and actually a little bit more, about 60 degrees max. Reverse is still line to line, but just the speed and the floppiness of this cube, just the instability, is really its biggest weakness. You can see right there, you can actually turn the logo. Okay, I have to look at the cube to do this. You can actually turn the logo like that just by moving the pieces on side of it. That's pretty crazy. So that shows you the instability of this cube and probably its biggest flaw. Could this be made better with lubricating? Possibly. Is this like not the worst cube ever? No, not the worst cube ever. But that's my review on the Cyclone Boys Feijue, otherwise known as the Shaolin What's this thing called again? The Shaolin Popey? Anyway, I guess it's just a solid, meh, whatever. I mean, it's a cube, and it works as a cube, and it's not a horrible cube, but it's just not a great cube. Have I ran enough? Okay, well that's about it for my fairly quick unboxing from Amazon.com. I wanted to give a little bit more input on a couple of these puzzles because Amazon is really an odd platform for cubes. I know a lot of cubers buy off of there because that's their only place to buy cubes. I don't know, I've heard of a few. But anyway, there are some really interesting ones on there, kind of like these Brybelly kind of exclusive colors and things for collectors and things like that. There's also some things to watch out for, like the Great Life or whatever other brands there are of these cubes that are very highly rated but don't match up with any brand names you've ever heard of, and most likely they're either, because I mean, I can't knock them completely for getting cubers into the hobby, for getting people from the 80s who used to solve the cube back into solving the cube. I can't knock them for that. So I guess it's smart business on their part, but they are, in a way, ripping people off in some ways, selling Xingqiao puzzles and Moyu cubing classroom puzzles and Guanlongs as high-end, super nice speed cubes. Enough said. That's about it. Okay, so anyway, that's about it for my video today. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe below if you enjoyed. Stay tuned for more reviews, unboxings, all other types of videos, cubing related content coming in the future. KS Cuber out. Goodbye.